Do I have a booger hanging out of my nose? I feel like I do.
No.
Okay, never get a nose ring because you were always worried that like...
That's been my main stop. The one thing that stopped me was just like,
How close are you to getting a septum piercing and just throwing your life away?
Man, if I had $1 for every time...
Best product slogan?
Yeah, let's see. Hold on. There was one I wanted to make sure we covered before.
Best on-screen... Oh, my God.
This is a good one. Okay, so best on-screen death. We can hit this.
Oh, man. Okay. Actually, I have one for this. And I don't even remember what movie or show it was. I think it was... No, maybe it was Parasite. It was like that Korean horror movie. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It might have been that. But there was one where there were these people... And they were in a safe house, and I think there was, like, trapdoors in the house that shut, like, when you're in danger. And there is this woman, there was, like, a crowd of these people in the house. And I don't exactly remember what happened. I think there was an intruder or something. But it shows this woman, like, trying to run, and she's trying to get to these, like, trapdoors, like, and her lover's on the other side, and I think they got into it. I don't remember what happened, but basically pushes a button as she's, like, coming through halfway through. And then the doors just go, on her and chop her in half as she's sitting there, like lurching, like reaching out to her. And it's just the way it's filmed, but you can hear just, like, the crunch and the... No, there was another one that was actually way worse than that. Sorry.
I was going to say, this season on Love is Blind.
I can't... Dude, I've tried to watch Love is Blind. I'm like, these people are the dumbest people on the planet. Like, I can't get into The Bachelor. I can't get into... I'm just like, these people are so stupid. They bring it on themselves. They deserve it. Anyway, so that's first. The second, no, this one was the worst. Okay, so it's called House of... It was... Oh, geez. Not like House of Pain, but it followed, like, an Edgar Allan Poe short story... And it was this. It's on Netflix, but
House of Usher.
Yeah. Follow the House of Usher.
Okay.
You need to go back and watch. I think it's the first episode, but each episode is like an Edgar Allan Poe short story.
Okay.
About death. And the first one it's this wealthy family, and it's basically like talking about the demise of each member of this wealthy family, and that's what every episode is. So the first episode is like the youngest son. And he wants to hold a party in this, like, abandoned mansion. And you kind of get hints throughout the whole episode that something bad is coming. And so he makes plans to have this big, like, BDSM, like, you know, rager at this mansion. And it's like a secret sex party or whatever. And so there's all this talk of this water tower, and, like, they're, you know, going to get all these people in there and then turn, like, the emergency water on, and all the water's going to come down on the people, like, all the sprinklers as they're dancing. But you get to the end of that episode, and, like, you can tell something, like, bad is coming the whole time, and it's the final scene. It's this remix of Closer by 9 Inch Nails, you know, the I wanna feel like an animal. And the son goes over to hit the sprinklers for them to turn on, like, for it to rain on all the partygoers. And then he hits the sprinkler, and it's just a slow motion drip, and you realize with horror that it's not water, it's acid rain. So the thing that happened, and it was so scary. I had to watch it 3 times because it was one of those, like, you know, like a bruise you keep pushing, and you're just like, this feels weird. I watched it, and it was like I was watching it happen, and I was just horrified because you hear all these sounds, this squelching, this, like, melting, this just, yeah, I know, sorry. And then it's like the end of the scene, the music has stopped, and you just see, like, there's just blinking red lights in the background, and you just see all these bodies on the floor melted together, just disgusting. And the sounds that you hear, the sizzling, the gagging, the squelching, it's the worst thing I've ever seen.
Gosh.
Squelch. Sorry. But go watch follow the House of Usher. The worst. It was the worst thing. Like, that I still can't get over just the sounds. And I think that's superior. And plus, like, the costumes, people who did, like, the SFX makeup for that, they literally had to get all these people together in a pile and melt them together. Like, it's like a Renaissance painting. It's disgusting. But yeah. Sorry, anyway.
I would argue that Squelch is probably...
I love how you have the Iron Giant on here.
Oh,
because he didn't die. He's still alive.
Is he?
Yes, because remember at the end of the movie, there was that beep, 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 and all his little parts. We're to get trust. I know a thing or two about the Iron Giant.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll see it. But I mean, still, when he died, though...
He didn't die.
But...
He's like Jesus. He comes back. He comes back.
Iron Jesus.
Oh, I will say our tax was pretty sad.
Yeah.
Dude, fuck Joffrey, though. That little...
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, best on-screen death. It could be a death that made you happy.
Do you have Monty Python in the
Yes, the killer rabbit from Monty Python. It could be funny. It doesn't have to be a sad death.
Oh, my God.
And you described... I mean, the one you described... That's pretty horrific.
It is horrifying. And
yeah.
if you watched it, you would probably be like scarred. I would say that a close third, though, would be Doyle Rules. Doyle Rules.
Yeah, that's a great one. That is a great one.
And also, what's that movie with those girls that go off the cliff?
Thelma and Louise.
Yeah, Thelma and Louise.
I watched that the other
Yeah.
Last month, I did a show at a bar called the Crack Fox.
Yeah.
And in the very back of the bar... They left one TV on, and it was playing Thelma and Louise.
Yeah.
And I almost was late getting to stage because I was just sitting there
watching. It's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
Do you ever sit, and I think about this sometimes, like I'll think about situations that like are horrifying just to see if I could like I will look up stories of people who got stuck in caves just to see if I could like make it through the story, and then I can't, and then I have to stop. Like the Nutty Putty Cave. Have you ever seen?
I've heard.
Don't read because like I was like, ooh. So I'll just be sitting in the car and I'll think, could I drive off a cliff with my bestie? Like, would I like?
I could do that 10 times before I ever went into a cave.
I don't understand people who get stuck in caves. Like.
Stop going in there.
Stop. This dude had, and this is what makes it so bad. The Nutty Putty story. His wife was pregnant, and he had a small child, and this man literally just saw like the smallest cranny. He was just like, I think I'll wedge my head down there.
What's the point?
There is no point.
What do you think you're gonna find?
I don't get it. I don't.
I think it's people who grew up watching like Alice in Wonderland or like Troll in Central Park.
Right, where they think there's like buried treasure.
Like, there's going to be a magical world down there.
No.
There's just people who are obsessed with Narnia. They're like, I'm going to go talk to a beaver. It's like, no.
There's not a talking beaver at the end of this damn cave.
It's a muddy puddle.
Yes.
You're going to drown in a muddy puddle.
And then they're like, I'm stuck and I can't move. I can't. No, I can't read cave stories, dude. I can't. I've tried. But yeah, I'll do that where I'll read horrific things happening to people just to see if I can make it through. I can't do cave stories.
No.
Can't.
Absolutely not. Okay. Absolutely
Best
not.
on-screen death. Best comedy movie.
Hold on, wait. I want to get to...
There's so many. Oh my God.
Yeah, there's so...
Oh my God.
Hold on. There's one in particular that I want to make sure I hit with you.
Okay.
And... I know. I'm so sorry. I should have queued these up better. Okay.
Oh, yay!
Best musical. Because I know you have this is your...
Dude. Oh, how dare you do this to me. I'm going to go with Seven Brides for Seven Brothers.
I threw that in there specifically for you.
Because it's so outrageously chauvinistic, but so jovial at the same time. And they're all hot, so you can't get mad.
Yeah.
All the brothers are so freaking hot, especially Benjamin. Sorry, husband, if you know, Derek hurt.
It happens.
I'm just saying.
It happens.
No, I told Derek last night, I was like, because we were watching Law Abiding Citizen, and I was like, just so you know, I've had a thing for Gerard Butler, like, forever. And he was like, that's fine, so have I. And I was just like... All right.
I said the same thing to my wife, but about Jamie Foxx.
I love Jamie Foxx. Yeah, because he was in that movie too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
And his real name is Eric. So
is it really?
We would have something in common. Yeah.
What?
Do you know why he changed his name to Jamie?
No.
Because when he started off doing comedy in L.A., they were like, we've got too many men signing up for open mics. We need more women.
So he was
like,
so smart.
I'm going to choose a name that could be a gender neutral name. So they're going to, they'll be like, oh, Jamie, let's put a Jamie on the list.
That's brilliant.
And he started to get more stage time. And yeah.
I love those origin stories. Okay, so the reason I picked Seven Brides for Seven Brothers is, because there's a lot of people I know who are like, this is such a problematic musical, but it's so good. And it's because of the barn raising dance. That is like the
bar
main
raising
reason.
Fight scene dance was so good.
Beautifully done.
The bright colored shirts.
Oh my God, that's what it is. It's for me. I was like, I want them to all go with their like respective colors. That's what I was when I was a little girl. I was just like, they all need to match. But I saw it live one time. So I saw a live stage production in California. It was like the Fullerton Arts Center, and they put on just freaking banging, because it's like everybody who wants to be in movies or like bigger productions, like it's LA, so they all go to the, so they did that scene, and I've never, like, it was a 10-minute long dance scene, and these people by the end were just
drenched,
exhausted, and I'm sitting there like, because they did it exactly like the movie, and in one take. There was no, it's like athletically, that is in like probably the hardest scene that I think in all of like musical theater that comes to my head. But Wicked's good. I've seen Wicked so many times. It's like not that I'm sick of it, because like, I mean, it's just it's great, but like it's kind of for me like Les Mis. It's like, okay, I've seen it.
I've never seen it.
I
asked my daughter when the movie came out. I was like, hey, if you want, I'll go watch Wicked with you. And she was like, yeah, we can go see it. But I think she wanted to go with her friends.
Yeah.
And then she was like, well, it's 2.5 hours long. And I was like, oh, it is?
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah. And it's part 1. And I was like, oh.
Yeah. So you kind of have to be like in with the lore to really appreciate it.
And as a dad, it was definitely one of those things where it was like, if this is what you would like to do.
Of course, you're being a good dad, but deep down you're like,
please, dear God, please. And I was like, is this payback for all the times I made you go to Avengers movies? Like, is this like,
I love Avengers movies.
She did too. A lot of them that we went to go see, she was like 6.
Right.
So she was like, yeah, I'll go watch it.
Comfort movies, yeah. Dude.
But
it's good. The thing is like, I guess the thing about me is like, I love musicals, but there's some like musical theater people that I don't get along with, because it's like not everything is a musical, and for my job I literally go around and I sing to people all day, but there's a time and a place. From 2 to 2:05 I'm singing to Jan at St. Francis Hospital, and then I leave. And then I go on with my day. But it's just like, not everything is like this grand scale movie main character moment. And I can't live my life like that, dude.
Theater people are very hard.
They're a lot. And I say this as someone, like, I love theater, like, but when you're in that moment and you're performing live and you're on stage, like, that's super fun. But that's not how real life is. And as long as you can differentiate between two, you're good.
I respect it.
Yeah.
I recognize the difficulty in it. I am blown away by the production and everything and the commitment to it. But at the same time, you gotta turn it off.
Pipe it. Can it. At some point, you know what? I follow a girl she's Alphaba right now on Broadway. Those people, they're athletes. She works 100%. Out every day before a show. She has to wear like a I don't want to say ventilator, like Bane or something, but she has to do a thing where she has like a drip coming in, right? Like she can't get sick.
Oh. Yeah.
She has to work out every morning, has 2 shows sometimes, but yeah, they are constantly doing exercises, like you are priming your body, like you are an athlete at that level.
What?
So
I think that goes into a lot of things. Like, you don't realize like I think comedy might be the only like entertainment business where it's like you can kind of be a fat slob.
Depending on whether your comedy is physical or not.
But actually, and I'm starting to change my tune, because I was kind of, for a long time I was just like, whatever, I'm just gonna you're up late, you're gonna eat bad food, you're gonna like it's a terrible lifestyle. But now I've really changed my tune, and I'm like, I need to get into shit. I need to be better. I need to be, and I found that I think it's helping.
It is. Well,
and I think I'm getting better, but also you meet so many people because you do a show, and then afterwards you're shaking 200 hands. Hey, thanks for coming out. Oh, I appreciate it. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, well, and they're like, oh, you're funny. Oh, blah blah blah. And you're, and it's like, that takes a toll on you.
Oh, what's emotionally draining.
If you're not if you're in really, really bad shape, it's kind of like wear you out quicker.
For sure.
So now I'm like, okay, I need to get in better shape. I need to lose weight and like get back to how I used to be because it's
a stamina thing, I think.
Yeah.
And have you noticed that the more successful comedians are, like, they're sober, they work out a ton, they're like vegan, and I think it's the more demanding the lifestyle becomes, like the more you realize, like, oh shit, it's like no, I feel that because that's kind of me lately is I'm like, I think that because like this is becoming a little more serious, I'm having more opportunities, like I've lost like 70 pounds, but like I want to be at a place where I'm like a maniac in terms of like my physical ability, like, I can do like chin-ups and stuff like that because there's something to be said for the amount of stamina you have on stage or just performing. Like when I work out, my voice is different. It's 10 times better.
Yeah.
Because it's core, so like the more cardio I do, it does translate. It translates into comedy as well. Like you just like because you're on stage.
I've never thought about that.
Yeah.
I've never thought of it.
Your core has a lot to do with it. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
core strength.
Wow, okay. Because I've never thought, like it makes sense. I always was kind of under the impression of like, oh, fat guys are funny. Which
they're funny.
They're funny, but also, like when I think about all the fat guys that I like that are funny, like the Chris Farleys and stuff like that. They're dead. Yes. Hey,
I love Chris Farley, but
they were very athletic as well.
Oh, for sure.
Like Chris Farley could do the splits. Mm-hmm. So it's like, he was obese, but he was still
well, that was probably
athletic.
The cocaine.
I mean, yeah.
A little bit of the cocaine. People were like hurling themselves into windows and stuff. But it's that adrenaline, too. I think, like the adrenaline. But I think Chris Farley...
But also, like you said, a lot of comics, the more successful they get, the more they're like,
because it's more demanding.
I need to get it together.
When you have like, and I think it's from, because I'm not anywhere on that level in terms of busyness, but like you said, the more kind of time has gone on, it is kind of becoming that way. So it's like, you just realize how much time you waste being not in good shape and being like, because I remember... Back when I used to do comedy, I would, everybody's drinking beforehand, everybody's smoking beforehand. And it's like, if you're taking it seriously, you can't do it like that.
No.
You can't, because, like, there's people who are doing the same open mic for 10 years because they won't stop, like, getting hammered before every set. Oops, sorry. Okay. And it's just like, when you realize you're succeeding, you're like, I can't waste any time screwing around, like...
Also, it takes so long to get to the point where you are succeeding that you're like,
I don't want to mess this up.
I don't want to mess this up. I want to keep it going. I don't have time to waste. And so it's like getting sick.
Yes.
I was out for 3 days.
I was so angry.
And I was so mad. I was like, I'm missing out on this.
Because were people like messaging you and all this stuff and being like, hey, blah, 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 and you're like, I'm barely holding it together.
You remember Ronaldo? Yeah. Ronaldo called me and I had like 103-degree fever.
Oh man.
And he was just like, hey, are you available for this show in April? And I was like, yeah, I think I could do it. He was like, are you all right? And I was like, no, I'm dying. He goes, are you going to be okay? And I'm like, I have to be. I've got a show this Thursday.
Let's chase him to check.
Yeah.
Last time I saw him...
He didn't really care. He just wanted to know if I could do the show.
Is he... He's still performing like a ton, yeah?
He's in Austin.
Yeah. Is he in Austin? Did he move?
Yeah.
He moved. Good for him.
Yeah.
So is he doing the comedy Mothership? Is he doing stuff over there?
He's done it a couple times from what I hear.
Yeah.
And I think I talked to him once and he said that he had like an audition, but he's doing like the Creek in the Cave and he's doing he's doing all kinds of stuff. So and apparently making big moves.
Have you heard of Casey Rocket?
Yeah. I met him. That was another one I met briefly when he came to Helium.
Is he a cool dude?
Yeah, he's just like he is, on stage.
But that's another kind of dude that I've been watching, just like on Kill Tony and stuff, where I'm like, it's so neat to just watch people get better and better and better. And like his shtick is kind of similar, but he changes it up every time.
I gained a lot of respect for a lot of those guys because I was probably just being a hater, whatever. But it's like sometimes I don't watch Kill Tony, because I don't like watching people be bad at comedy, because I go to so many mics and do so many shows. It's like I see bad comedy a lot.
That's so the worst part about doing open mics is
it annoys
is the
me
bad
sometimes.
comedy. Yeah.
So like when I see like, okay, they're giving someone a shot and they go up and they bomb. It bothers me because it's like, all right, there's 1,000 better comics that could have used your 60 seconds and changed their life, you know.
Right.
But also, whatever. It's like some of these, you know, and then you kill Tony stars. They get 60 seconds, and then they become headliners or whatever. And it's like you're like, they didn't deserve it. But then you meet them, and you're like, no, you are a real comic. So, you do take this serious.
Right.
You are. So like Cam Patterson.
Yes.
I met him right before his I Like Rocks video took off, and he was very nice, very humble, very, you know, just like he is on stage. And then I met him again when he just came to Helium like 3 weeks ago, and he's still very nice, very humble,
consistent.
Got off stage and didn't immediately go into partying. Immediately sat down and was like, okay, this joke about this, I need to rework it. And
That's
he took
difference.
Notes about the set. And then he was like, okay, now let's all hang out.
Oh, for sure.
Whatever. And it was, that to me was like, okay, I respect you.
Yes, for sure.
I respect the hell out of you.
For sure.
You know, and then he immediately turned around and made a comment about how big I was and called me the N-word and kept going, you know, like just what you would expect.
Right back to the...
What you would expect from Cam.
There was someone, my sister was talking, she was talking about, like, because there's a bunch of Austin comics who are coming to Atlanta, and it's so funny, like, the difference in region and the things that work for, like, Austin aren't going to work for another city. Because, someone gets up in Atlanta, and he bombs because his jokes, he's not, like, a good comic, but he's just kind of familiar with the Austin scene. Because there are people who, like, try too hard to be likable by Kill Tony, but they're not even, like, telling good jokes. And so he gets off stage, and the dude who's heading up the mic, he was like, that's what we like to call an Austin Mad Lib. But it's like, you've got to be careful not to, like, get yourself in that pigeonhole, you know?
Well, there's so many. So, like, I went to Austin with a couple comics almost 2 years ago now.
So you've been to Austin, yeah.
Yeah, I went down there because it was like, all right, why not? Let's go try it, you know? And what you don't realize is that when you go down there, Austin isn't I don't know. I feel bad talking. I don't ever like to talk bad about another comedy scene.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to. It is a great city. There's great rooms. There's great opportunities. There are great comics.
Yeah.
However, if you're just Joe Blow showing up out of nowhere, you got to start at the bottom and earn your spot.
Right.
Just like in anywhere. But it's 10 times harder in Austin because there's 10,000 other comics
just like
trying to do the exact same thing that you're trying to do. Which
there's 10,000 Shane Gillises trying to be Shane Gillis.
Right. And that's and so a lot of the mics that you go to are 1 minute mics where people are practicing their 60 seconds for the opportunity. If they get on Kill Tony, they want to be sharp
for that 1
60
minute.
seconds.
Yeah.
And we went down and we signed, like, there was a couple mics that I signed up for that were, you're one of 75 on an open mic list. And they start off as 2 minute sets, and then if it starts to go too long, they cut it down to 1 minute. And then the last like 15 people would get 45 seconds just to try to speed it up.
Dude.
And I was like, how can you get good here? How could you get those 10,000 hours of stage time 45 seconds a piece? It's
almost like too many people, like too pop. That's got to be tough. I don't know, like a 45-second set. What is that, like light?
Yeah.
I mean, it gives me a little more respect because, like, I think what he did by, like, moving himself down to Austin was because that all happened around COVID anyway. And so the Comedy Store was suffering bad around COVID. So I think that's when Joe Rogan and all them just kind of made that. But I was there when they still had roast battles at the Comedy Store. So Tony was there every Tuesday night. He was there with comedy. What's that guy's name?
Mark
Norman. He was there with, like, Mark Norman. Pete Davidson would come in a couple times. And Jeff Ross was there, like, every Tuesday. But yeah, it was just, like, they had their kind of club, like, the dudes who liked that particular mic. And that's the thing, is it's, like, that's all kind of fitting the Tony crowd, and that's their deal, is, like, the 45-second. So it's, like, it's kind of like I don't want to say a Twitter form of comedy because it's so short that it's got to be like, but I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I could do the 45-second bit.
I'm happy that I haven't gotten to do Kill Tony.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I would never sign up or that I would never do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've met Fiona Cawley. I've met Cam Patterson. I've met Casey Rocket. I've met a lot. What is the guy's name? Hans Kim.
Do you know who? Sorry, go on.
And it's like I've met all these comics and they're great, and I really enjoyed meeting them and hanging out and having fun, and like they are great comics. But I'm so glad that I took the time to get good on stage. Yeah. Before
trying to
that
just
happens.
Be like viral.
Because you can see that sometimes people are like, oh, I want to get famous, I want to get famous, I want to get famous.
Yeah.
And then they get famous, and then people come to see them, and they have nothing.
Right, because they don't have 15 minutes.
I've done shows for TikTok comics that are like, you're in the green room, and you're like, so, what's up, man? Like, they have 3.6 million TikTok followers.
Right.
And they're like, I've only been doing comedy 6 months.
Oh, no.
And they're like, they have to go do a 45-minute set, and they're kind of like...
45 minutes?
They're like, okay, so I've got this, I've got that. They've got a big, legal notebook with a whole bunch of, notes on it.
Who booked them for 45 minutes?
Well, I don't want to...
Never mind, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
It was like...
No, because there are people who don't know comedy. This happened to me when I went... Okay. So
but the thing is, I don't really blame the people who booked them because they move tickets. And you move tickets, you move drinks. And that's what the club's trying to do.
Right.
The club's not really trying to bring you the best comics ever. They're trying to bring you, hey, who's going to put on a show where we can sell tickets and sell drinks? Because a club has a staff to pay for it. Yep. They can bring in the funniest comic in the world who doesn't have a following.
Yeah. But
and
that's
the club's not going to make any money,
tickets,
then the club goes under. So it's like, I understand the business side of it.
Yeah, for sure.
But also, it's, and even that guy that didn't know what he was doing, he was still super cool. And
really?
I after the show, he was like, hey man, can I get some advice from you? Oh. And he sat down and he was taking notes and he was doing all.
So he cared.
And so he cared to put on, because he's like, I don't want people to be disappointed they came to see me. And I was, and so I respect
of course
that. But at the same time, I was like, whew, I'm glad that if I did get that call, then I could put on a show.
Right. But have you noticed with the crowd work thing on TikTok, has that affected what people expect when they come to comedy shows? The look on your face, I already know the answer.
Oh my gosh. Not only does it affect the crowd, because you get people who are like, they want us to talk, and it's like, nope, I do not. I don't want to hear a word out of you. But you also get comics that are like, that's all I have to do. I don't need to write jokes. I'm just going to get up here and ask the most inappropriate questions in the world.
Right, and find
just
material from it. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and you just got to, stop.
I think it was Matt Rife who kind of changed all that. Yeah?
Yeah, but people don't understand that, okay, so Matt Rife, viral for crowd work. Yeah. He puts out 60-second clips of crowd work, but he also has, if he does a 45-minute set, he still has 40 minutes
of material.
40 minutes of written, pre-planned, prepped material jokes that are ironed out, and he worked really hard
on crowd work.
And he just took, but the reason he doesn't put that out is because once you put that out, it's burned.
You're right.
It's like jokes are like a magic trick.
Yeah.
The first time you see it, you're like, whoa. The second time you see it, you're like, that's cool. The third time you see it, you're like, it's the Queen of Hearts. I get it.
Yeah.
That's the same way with jokes. Mm-hmm. So it's like if I write my best joke ever and I put it out on YouTube and people love it and then they come see it, they're going to be like, when I do that, they're going to be like, well, we've heard this. Mm-hmm. The punchline is grape soda or whatever. Right. You know what I mean? And you're like,
no, that's really. I think there was I don't remember the name of the comedian, but that kind of started happening where she was selling out tours, and then people were getting upset because they were like, well, we've seen these jokes before, and it's like, well, I mean, she's still doing the same tour that she was doing. She's not going to change it up every time. I think there's a lot of people that don't know what to expect in terms of, like, written material. They don't know when, like, I think there's a lot of comics that don't know when to recycle old material and be like, okay, time to write new stuff. And then there's people that don't know that when a person performs, like, their material, like, that's their material and they're going to continue doing it, you know? So there's some, like, expectations, I think, that are blurred from just, like, TikTok videos and stuff. And I mean, I think a lot of people don't know what to expect from a comedy show anymore or how to act.
I went to go see, I went to see Jim Gaffigan
Yeah.
one time. He sold out the Enterprise Arena where the Blues play.
Yeah.
And he did a full hour of new jokes and then did Hot Pockets.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he was like, I don't think I'm going to do Hot Pockets tonight. And everybody went, oh. And he's like, I'm kidding. Obviously, I'm going to do, you know.
Yeah,
but he did it at the very end.
He's like Kendrick
because
with
he's like,
Not Like Us, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, here, this is my new stuff. Mm-hmm. Enjoy I've been working.
Yeah.
I want to give you new material.
Yeah.
I want you to see this new stuff. But also, I understand that you really like this one thing that I do. Mm-hmm. So I will give it to you, but at the very end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And same with Bert Kreischer. I was kind of under the impression he's got the one bit.
He's got the shirt off.
He's got the Russian mafia story. But my buddy bought me tickets. We went to go see him down in Texas, and it was a great show.
Really?
It was his openers were great. He had a full hour of material of stuff that I had never heard.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm working this out. I got a new special coming out, blah, 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 new material. And then he closes the show. Good night, everybody. Walks off stage. And people are like, they start chanting like that. And then he just comes back out and just like, when I was 22 years old, I got a vote like that. And people were like,
everybody losing their absolute mind.
Man, he was like, I'm always, as long as you guys are coming to see me, I will give you what you want to see.
I love that.
And I was like, man, my level of respect for you just went.
He worked for years on that bit because he said, I don't remember who was interviewing him, but he basically was like, that bit did not work for the longest time. Like the mafia story. He was like, every time I would do it, I'd bomb. And I don't remember who was just like, no, it's a good bit. Like, you've got to keep going. But yeah, he workshopped that bit for years before it stuck. And there's a lot of comedians that have talked about, like, the thrill of bombing and how, like, kind of necessary that is to get good. And I think there's some people who get so used to bombing that they kind of enjoy it more than killing.
I was about to say, I don't know about the thrill of bombing, but I definitely appreciate, like, sometimes when I have a big show coming up and I'm getting kind of nervous, and then you bomb right beforehand, you're like, okay, good.
Right, I got it out of my system.
Yeah.
Where it's like
you're
the
like,
worst
all right,
is over.
I needed to, all right. Yeah. Now I'm coming in with hot energy to like, boom. Mm-hmm. All right. But it's like, it still scares the shit out of me.
Of course. How often do you, like, try out new material?
Every week.
Every week.
Every week. So like the writers meeting I did earlier.
Yeah.
We meet once a week and we pitch new ideas. Mm-hmm. We like throw out, sometimes you're like, hey, I got 7 new premises that I think might work. Sometimes you're like, I got 2.
Yeah.
But you go out and you try them and try them and try them. And after you've done a joke 5-6 times, which you could easily do in 1 week, you either know, all right, this is a dud, or I have something semi-polished that I could take to a real show.
Yeah.
And then you keep tweaking and tweaking and tweaking. And you're just trying to build. It's like you're building your Netflix hour 30 seconds at a time,
Dude,
of like one line.
One of the things that I've been hearing from a lot of comics is like they'll think they have a thing and it's like a long thing and they'll think it's going to be like a long bit and they'll work it and work it and work it and work it and at the end of it they'll have maybe a 5-second joke left from just like months and months and months of work, but it's a solid joke and it gets like the room in an uproar and it's just like, dude, the amount of meticulous, like, painstaking work that goes into just carving out jokes and for me I guess it would be more like songs and stuff like that, but you know, with as much as I love comedy and love talking about comedy and just, like, love the process of writing jokes, it's like, I don't think I can stay away. I really can't.
You should. Good. You should come back.
And it's too good. It's too fun.
Well, I'm trying to start something in Cape. I don't know if we're going to do an open mic or like a monthly showcase. Or
so, what about Scout Hall? That's a great room.
Well, the Broadway Bistro Bar.
Yes.
Right next to where I met you.
That's perfect.
I did that show, that one. It was for a Christmas party where Clay and I ran into. Yeah. That's a perfect room. It's
a great spot.
Tiny little stage, but like this room could seat 90 or 100 people.
We had a mystery science theater kind of thing where we watched.
Love it.
We watched the very first Dawn. I think it was like Night of the Living Dead, like the one from like the 30s or 40s, and it was like me and 2 other people, and we just like got together, watched it, wrote some jokes about it, and just like riffed the whole time. But that was like that we had it in that theater, so that was just there's just so many like different little things you could do.
So, are you familiar with? And I'm hesitant to use this as an example, but it's the only one I can really think about. Sometimes Joe Rogan will do something called like a fight companion, where he does a podcast while a UFC or boxing match is going on. Yeah. Right? And he says, all right, if you want to line it up, start now. Or like, hey, the beginning of the first round starts now. And he claps. And so you can sync it up so you can watch it at home and listen to their commentary or their jokes or whatever. But I would like to do that with like a movie. Yeah. To be like, obviously, I can't play, like Avengers. Right. That's copyrighted. Right. But I could film us watching Avengers, doing Mystery Science Theater, and then say, hey guys, if you're, all right, ready to sync up, 3, 2, 1, like that. Yeah. And then people can watch it with us.
With you while you're making the commentary.
And I would love to do that with Mystery Science Theater, like old shitty movies. Oh, yeah. Or, you
could do that in the bistro for sure.
You could do that in the bistro. You could do that. I mean, it doesn't even have to be live. No. It could be here, and then people can watch whenever they want. Right. And then be like, hey, this week we're watching this movie. You can find it on Hulu, or you can find it on Amazon. Sync up now.
That's a great idea.
Stuff like that. Yeah. Because I think it would be fun.
Oh, yeah. People are always looking for, like, new, like, stuff in terms of, like, comedy, because, of course, like, stand-up is, the usual format of stand-up is great, but, like, throwing little things like that in there every so often, changing it up a little bit.
Well, it's like how popular are reaction videos? You know what I mean? Which is basically what that is.
I'm pissed by how much people make from reaction videos. Sitting there and going, whoa! And it's just like this person's getting like thousands per video to react to like, Kesha's new song or like this new scene. And I'm just like, dude. But, you gotta like, I've kind of gotten to a point where I'm like, if someone can figure out how to like make money, like I can't disrespect it. Like,
yeah, it's out there.
No hate.
My mindset has changed so much in the last 6 months of being like, oh man, I gotta find the money. I don't know where it is, and I gotta do this and I gotta do that. To being like, oh no, there's so much money out there. You just gotta figure out how to find it. Yep. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's, once you figure it out,
it's almost unfair, like how, I don't want to say easy it is, but the things that people will pay for. Yeah. It's just confusing to me. Like, I don't understand, for at least for me, I find my telegrams a little cringe. Like, I don't like watching myself do them because I'm like, this is very, like, cringe millennial humor to me. But, like, other people enjoy it. So it's one of those things where I don't even think I'm that funny in terms of that. But I guess other people, like, I've had to kind of step outside of that because if I did, then I'd never post anything.
I that's so crazy that you say that because I feel the same way.
I'm like, I'm not funny at all. This is so cringe. Gag. And then I post it and everyone's like, this is so funny. Like, you're just, and I'm like, there's no way. You're on drugs. Like, clearly, this is dumb as hell. And, so it's just like you kind of have to resign yourself to.
Do you know how many times, like, after a show, I'll have somebody and they'll be like, oh my gosh, That was so funny. When you said this, it was so funny. So
and you're
funny.
sitting there
and I'm like, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Okay, thank you. And then I go home and I'm like, I'm such a hack. I'm such a...
all the time.
None of my favorite comics would like my material. It's like...
Do you ever listen
They're not buying tickets. Who cares?
Do you ever listen to your set or your thing through the ears of someone else to be like, how would so-and-so feel if they listened to... And you're listening to it, like, with their mindset, and then it doesn't pass like the inspection of like how you'd anticipate they'd listen to your thing, and you're like, I don't even know this person, like why am I sitting here pretending like I know how like Pete Holmes would react to this joke when I don't even like know him as a person. It's so weird.
Do you have anything you want to plug? Your social medias?
So
upcoming events, anything like that?
I'm coming out with an album in May, actually. I've been working pretty hard on it, all my original stuff. So that's coming out in May. I'm engineering that, producing that, write all the songs on it. If you want to book a singing telegram with me, just to get a hold of me on socials, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I'll be performing around. I perform all around like the tri-state area. So.
And what is your at?
At the Joy Brooker Show on TikTok, and then it's just like if you just look up Joy Brooker on Instagram, you should find me. I should be.
Because I think it's Joy.
Joy.Brooker.
Brooker.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, guys? Real quick, I just want to give a shout out to a couple people I met at a show I did recently. On March 22nd, I was in Louisiana, Missouri at the American Legion. It was a great show. It was packed, sold out. Everybody was there to support Will O'Donnell. It was his hometown. And it was a super fun crowd. I met a lot of great people. I met Shannon and Byron Gertzkin, maybe? I'm sorry if I'm screwing up your last name. But they were great people. Byron's a giant dude. He's like bigger than me. He was a 0321, I believe, when he was in the Marines. And so that's cool. That's always fun to get to see another Marine, especially out in the wild. We're few and far between. We're like pandas in captivity. We just don't mate. I don't know. What does that even mean? And then I also ran into Rob and his husband, Buster. And Buster works at the local jail. It was cool. They were everybody there was super friendly, super nice. Met plenty of people after the show. I don't think anyone enjoyed the joke that went along with the merch I sold, but they still came up and bought it anyway, and I just really appreciate that. It was really sweet, and everybody in the town was super friendly. I had 19 people tell me, watch for deer, watch for deer. I thought that was kind of cool, because I was watching, but they kept getting away. One of these days I'll get one, I swear. No, but it was really fun, so thanks to everybody who came out to that, and I appreciate it. Hopefully I'll see you at another show down the road. Bye.